Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a very special guest, San Jose State University women's water polo coach, Beth Harberts. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
The team currently holds a 6-6 record with strong performances at home, 3-0, and away 1-0, but some struggles in neutral site games with a 2-6 record. How do you assess the team's performance so far this season?
Well, we do have a young team, right? And so I think for us, we're really trying to assess what we're breaking down quarter by quarter. How are we, what goals are we giving up in certain aspects of the game? Areas that we can start to close those performance gaps is kind of what we discuss a lot here. So I think even in the neutral sites, we've been taking on some higher ranked programs. And so we're just trying to make sure that we have those strong matchups. And kind of like I said, in those quarters, how many counterattack opportunities we're providing or our success rate in some of those. So we're really trying to statistically beat our previous performances and how we're moving forward. But then also kind of, win or lose, how are we progressing each game?
Right. And kind of going off of that, what I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some adjustments that you are focusing on specifically to improve this consistency in the neutral site games?
Yeah, well, we're a lot of our the programs that we go for, they have a strong center forward, and so instead of being able to front and press, how can we strategically play more of a zone and kind of focus the shot a little bit more from maybe a weaker side, and so that we can kind of have that maybe funnel to our goalie so that we can have some of our counterattack opportunities. Our team is very fast, and so we're really trying to force a quick shot, in which case we can kind of get out on that counterattack. And so we're trying to, yes, we're trying to accommodate for the other team's center forward player, but also how can we continue to play with our strengths? Um, I think that our team has done a really good job. We played Cal last weekend, and even though we didn't have that win proper, I think that our team defense collectively had really stood up in the first half of that game, and it was really exciting to see that we were communicating together, working those switches, whether it's a zone or kind of gapping in those moments. I think that we are at a point in our season that we're starting to see those kind of dominoes fall into place, and so it's really kind of fun to see their success, but then also those aha moments that are accruing within our team. And obviously having those successful moments are also positive reinforcement.
And speaking of successful moments, the team had a strong showing against the University of California, Merced, and San Diego State, scoring a combined 30 goals. What factors do you think contributed to these offensive explosions?
Really getting a lot of our Spartans in there and having some of those playing time. I know Merced is a burgeoning program, and so we were able to get a lot of our Spartans in there to get that game experience. I think it really shows those Spartans that might not get as much playing time also are have the opportunity to get in and also show their value and how they're contributing and their level of training that they've also completed. And so it was great that we have some of those hungry student athletes that are getting over there and trying to work on their performance goals, right? I think the San Diego State game was a new experience for our team in the sense that we really battled for 4 quarters. How are we holding on to the lead at the end of a game when it's a tight finish? And so I think that experience also kind of gave us another look for us to develop and grow on as a program. I think offensively, it's really great to see that disbursement of our goal scorers because it's highlighting a lot of the depth that we've been working on building here as a program. And so that's always exciting to see as a coach.
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on your goal scorers. Several players, including Darcy Spark and Bridget Cranley, have made significant offensive contributions to the team. Who are some of the other standout players this season, and what makes them key assets for the team?
Yeah, so Emma Ruzick and Janine Osorio, I think that they have strong brains of the operation, if you will. I think
Mhm.
even though we have some very strong finishers, I think a lot of those key movements that are opening up pockets, being a big threat on the perimeter in the sense that they're pulling defense for us to send it in. They are really doing a lot of the shadow work, so to speak, within our program. Janine Osorio had such a killer game against San Diego State, where she was helping us offensively. She was creating more advantages when maybe our center forward wasn't able to hold a position. Emma Ruzick, she is full utility player for us at this moment. She'll go and play set. She can defend. She likes to work the perimeter and set some screens that will help open up Darcy or help open up our outside shooters. And so I think those two contributors to our program might not be super ranked in the sense of, stats proper, but without them, our systems fail. And so I think they have tremendous game brain in there and create opportunities that opens their teammates up.
And before we get to talking about the defense, I just have a quick question. What challenges do you anticipate in your upcoming match against California State University Northridge? And how is your team preparing for these challenges?
Well, we're definitely working on different defensive looks that other programs are going to send to us, really focusing on our off ball movement and how we're trying to create two different looks on cage, whether we're working for our center forward proper or how we're creating those opportunities where we can swing the ball for maybe a catch and shot, maybe a secondary post up opportunity. So now that we have a lot of our game film out there and our plays, we're looking to adjust into a different playbook, and so that we're able to present our opponent with some different looks as opposed to them watching a lot of our scouting games that have been put out there. So CSUN is they have some tremendous shooters on the outside, and so we're really trying to get those matchups and how we can maybe get those pairings and potentially get them into foul trouble pretty early on. I think that will help us with our continue to have that strong defense in the sense that if they're in foul trouble, they're not going to be out on the perimeter getting some of those good looks. And so we have traditionally had some really competitive games with CSUN, and so we kind of anticipate the same type of energy going in. I think we have some comparable role players as it relates to those nuances of the game, right? The drivers and the center forwards. So it should be a fun matchup for sure.
And your team has shown incredible defensive stats, 87 steals, 100 saves. How would you evaluate your defensive unit's performance so far this season?
We talk a lot about the importance, the defense wins championships, and that definitely reigns true. I think one of the most exciting things about our team is that they really thrive on that communication and supporting each other when maybe we are beat on a drive, maybe we need to step back and help and pull a zone. Grace Smith, she is one of our seniors. She's our one of our captains, but she's also our goalkeeper. And so she's very communicative about where she kind of wants her blocks in certain positions so that we're really trying to funnel the shot towards her. Renee Fleming, she's one of our senior defenders as well. She's done a terrific job this season, really getting up there and assisting with a lot of field blocks that we've had lately. I kind of spoke to our speed that our team has, but we're getting stronger with our crash and coming back and coming up with the ball once it's entered on the inside. So, but I think over the course of the season, the enhanced communication, building that synergy with your teammate, and just kind of really kind of understanding the space that you're in and what your priorities of guarding. I think that it's really starting to come together beautifully. I think each game we get a little bit stronger in there, and we kind of want that to be, our team reputation as well as like we got some really strong defense in there, and so yeah, it's been really exciting. seeing that high level of steals and field blocks, I think is really something, it's one-on-one defense, it's team defense, and then it's the goalie. So we really want to try to stop those instead of just letting the goalie be the first one on defense. We're really trying to get those stops and contribute together with that team defense.
Yes, the defense is definitely one of the most important parts. I want to circle back because your offense is also very, very strong. They have a higher shooting percentage, 48%, than their opponents at 37%. What is the focus offensively to maintain this efficiency and high level of play?
Really low motion offense, right? We try to preach that six people score the goal, whether you're the one that actually shot it or not, because it's really hard to defend six people that are creating those advantages and making themselves available for a swing pass. And so I think Bridget Cranley, she is a freshman this year to us, but she was a big center forward position that we were looking for to complement our game systems. And so she's come in and has been high energy in the middle in the sense that she's pulling a lot of defenders into zones, which provides great outside shooting opportunities for our other Spartans. And I think they're starting to really create for each other, right? I'm going to do this so my teammate can do that. And so I think that that strong unity of looking for each other on these swing passes or a pick off ball, I think they've been playing with each other. Like I mentioned before, that we're a young team, but those are first years and second years that have been just kind of building that synergy between them. And so they're starting to have those reads and understanding when one person moves, she's always going to look weak to look and find that teammate. So I am very impressed by our team's ability to find the back of the cage and get those extra looks because as a coach, I can see that next level of game brain and how they're really trying to strategize. Just because you're open doesn't mean you're the one that should shoot, right? How are we reading the defense and what's the higher percentage possession out of that? So it is really fun. We do have some sharpshooters that are our go-tos, but I've been really trying to increase our depth and get everyone to understand that they also have strong shots. And so the more of a threat you are on the perimeter, the more it kind of opens up everybody else.
Right. And so, kind of going off this, we talked about defense, we talked about offense. What role does your special teams for power plays and penalty shots play in your game plan? And how do you ensure that your team capitalizes on these opportunities?
Yeah, it's a great question. We definitely have, there is advantages to when another team takes a timeout, and so they have a more of a structured 6-on-5 or power play advantage, in which case we can throw an alternative defense that we're trying to disrupt their structured offense, right? A lot of times during the gameplay, you kind of flow into that maybe if there's not a substitution. And so we just try to pack it in, identify where those shifts are, and make sure we're counter rotating. I think for us, really trying to identify and recognize those opportunities so we're not shifting out of our zone. And I think that, strategically has been helping. Again, I think that one of our biggest things because of our youth is talking and just kind of speaking when somebody's out of their zone. And so if my back is towards the cage, I also have that level of awareness behind me. And so I think that has also been improving what we're doing. Those 5-meter shots, with the way our sport is going, they're enhancing the opportunities for those penalty rewards. And so it's really kind of changing the way that we're approaching some of our defensive body positioning and trying to work towards that. So, but it's been really exciting. Like I said, I think our response to those moments when maybe we're down defensively, I like the way that we're coming back and responding in that next possession where whether they scored a goal or not, I think we have the mindset of getting right after that next possession.
And as the season progresses, as you keep saying, you are a young team. What are your primary goals for the team in terms of development and postseason aspirations, and also looking into next season?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned the whole performance gaps. We are very task oriented, right? I think for
Mhm.
us to continue to measure our programs progression and our young women's progression as they're going through, um, they will have their individual goals, and then we will also have our team goals and coach goals for them. So as we approach some of these higher ranked teams, that are top teams in the nation, and we're the underdog, we're really trying to evaluate how we have played them each time. So if we go through our quarter stats, what goals did we give up? Were they mostly on those fast breaks? Were they in our center forward? Do we have to change that front court positioning? How many drawn exclusions did we have charged against our team? So how are we cleaning up those opportunities? And I think breaking it down and seeing that progression in each of those categories, I think really, it's reinforcing knowing that, okay, we're not giving away so many of these goals, and we're closing the gap in this quarter, and hey, we won this quarter. I think those are things that are showing us that we're kind of getting closer to our goals and closing those gaps. I think when we focus on those task oriented goals, the win will take care of itself, right? If that comes, that's going to be because we have focused on closing those specific categories as we move forward. It's it's wonderful to be a part of the MPSF. It is the premier conference for women's water polo, and so we are playing against domestic and international champions. And so I think with that higher level of competition, it really focuses us to quantify our development as we go through, right? We might not always come out with that win, but we can play really well, and that's going to be all relative to us. We could maybe get a win, and maybe we're having a poor performance, right? So I think that every game that we're having, we're identifying those strengths. Our program, 70% of our program is first and second years. And so I think we're going to have those mistakes that come. It's part of the process. But I think what's so special about that is they're able to get that playing time in early. They're able to get that high level Division I women's water polo experience early. And then they're starting to play with their same cohorts and kind of building that synergy. So it's fun to see this youthful team take on programs that maybe are a little heavier on the junior senior side, and how we're matching up. And so I think that also helps with that growth and that development. So yeah, I mean, it's really exciting to see us have that next level as a program growth, right? We have that center forward position now, and so it kind of opens up a little bit more of our front court where it has improved our scoring opportunities. And so I think that's a new step up for our team this year.
And Coach Brienne, I know we've talked a lot about the team. I want to turn to you for a second. What has been the most rewarding aspect of coaching this particular group of athletes?
They're really grateful, right? And I think as a coach, we don't just work on the X's and O's, we really work on that personal development and how are they enhancing themselves as a young adult. There's so many different decisions and life decisions you're making at this time of your life, right? And so I think just working with a group of women that really focus on the culture, really want to support their teammates, are really appreciative of the opportunity. I think that just makes it so much more fun to coach, and it's a fun environment to be a part of. I'm very grateful that they chose San Jose State, and we have the opportunity to continue to develop them as young adults. But I think that's been one of the most rewarding. It's also really fun to watch our first years or Spartans that might not have gotten goals to get in there and get some of their first goals as a college student athlete, and just to see the support that their teammates have for them. I think that's reinforcing, but it's also reinforcing for me, right? I think those moments are something that they'll it's been captured for the rest of their life, and I just think that it's such a cool position that we have to be a part of that memory, and so it's just really grateful to be here.
And last question, what message do you have for Spartans fans who are supporting the team this season?
We're resilient. We got a lot of grit. We're getting after it. So I think for us, it's just sticking with the process and making sure that we're hitting those small goals. But the support that we've received from our family and friends has really carried us in some of these tight games. Like I kind of mentioned, we're in a different space where we're you're only as good as the day you play. And so I think we have that approach is when we go and maybe these closer ranked teams, I think it's anyone's ball game. So we're approaching it as the underdogs and really getting after it. So, but yeah, we've had some great support so far this year, and our team feels it, and so we're kind of rolling here on a positive note.
I'm so glad. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, this was San Jose State University women's water polo coach, Beth Harberts. Be sure to catch San Jose State in the Bronco Invitational this weekend at Santa Clara University. The first game is against CSUN Northridge, Friday, February 14th at noon Pacific time. The match will be shown on Santa Clara All Access stream as the Spartans look to extend their win streak. Once again, I am Shira Mandell with MPSF Sports. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.